Looking for a casual baseball podcast to listen to? Well, Baseball with the Bard, presented by Clovercrest Media, has just what you're looking for. Tyler Bard and Noah Cross cover a wide range of happenings in the MLB and then dive into a deep focus on the Red Sox and Yankees. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for your weekly dose of Baseball with the Bard.
When I was 12 years old, I became a Jack Nicholson superfan. This happened almost overnight on an evening in February 1997 when I first saw The Shining.
Here's Johnny!
In those 20-plus years, I never stopped being a Jack superfan.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Get ready for You Don't Know Jack, hosted by me. Subscribe today on your favorite podcast platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event.
Hello and welcome to Throwing Jabs Podcast. I'm Big Jace, joined as always by my man Jared Jones and Joe Aguirre. And we got a juicy show for you. We're obviously going to recap last week's fights. We got a bit of breaking news. A great Who You Got this week. Should be a good conversation, as well as we're previewing this week's fights. Let's start off with last week's fight. So let's start in the UFC. Glover Teixeira secures a rear naked choke submission victory over Thiago Santos. Jared, what did you think of this fight?
Great fight. Teixeira looks good. Just turned 41. That was impressive. I picked Santos, number one contender. Can we agree this is one of the baddest men on the planet, even at 41?
Yeah.
Can we all agree to that? There's a follow-up. If you're a fan of scrub scraps, know that we won a fight that this guy has to this point lost. Mixed martial arts are still illegal and unregulated by state athletic commissions in New York, Connecticut, Montana, and Alaska. Quote, having been in Connecticut since 1999, I can tell you MMA is a very popular sport here as it is all over the world. Ironically, I sit in my living room in Danbury. I watch it MMA on television, can buy it on pay-per-view. I can watch it on restaurants and bars across Connecticut. I can go to mixed martial arts gyms throughout the state and train and complete in MMA. And I can attend live events in nearby and at Mohegan Sun and Foxwood casinos. But I cannot participate in a supervised and regulated live event here in Connecticut. I would love to have the opportunity to participate in events someday here in my home state of Connecticut. Glover Teixeira, May 2013. Scrub Scraps has gotten approved to have legal sanction events, and thus far in this state, MMA has not. A fight that Glover Teixeira has ultimately personally been a part of for almost a decade. And good fight, yeah. And a title shot, sure. He's 41. I mean, give him a shot. Do it, yes.
All right, great fight by Teixeira, and I love Santos. I told you guys I love Santos, but for me, anytime you've got a well-rounded guy with knockout power, got the good ground game, that's always going to be the guy I go with, no matter what the odds say. We talk about styles all the time. And Teixeira seems like he's going to get a shot now. It was nice to see Dana White actually admit that he got something wrong or maybe didn't know it all. It was nice that he was willing to listen. Teixeira's won 5 in a row, 10 out of his last 13. This guy holds the all-time UFC records for submissions and finishes in the light heavyweight division. Sounds like a guy who certainly has earned his way in the heavyweight division. Not to mention, Santos TKO'd Jan Blachowicz at UFC Fight Night 145. So to me, it makes sense. If you beat the guy that beat the guy, that seems like that would be the guy then. Plus, if Teixeira beats Jan, I'll tell you what, I would love to see him and Chubby Adesanya fighting in that division, because I'll tell you, well, I'm not guaranteeing it, but the Portuguese man of war, I think he would have the skill set and the wherewithal to slow Adesanya down, who would obviously be at a bigger weight, take him down, and do what most people can't do, and that's get your face beat in by Israel Adesanya. So,
and you think Teixeira is a greater threat to Adesanya at that weight class than Blachowicz?
Yep, dude. Just think about what the fight might look like, because again, you're talking about two strikers with Adesanya and Blachowicz.
I agree, and Adesanya has the skill set advantage from that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Just to me, I would like the Teixeira matchup with Jan, because I think that'd be a great fight. Down the line, though, I would love to see him fight Adesanya. I'm telling you, we talk about this all the guy where these Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, they don't want to go down. I for the life of me, I don't get it. And it's a good example where Teixeira shows you where having the skills, having the threat of being able to knock you out is only heightened by if you're worried about takedowns. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, so when you have that power punch, and you've seen it a million times where they start to get a little, they're expecting the takedown, and they get the lights put out. So I think this guy's got the right skill set. Whether he could beat Adesanya, again, I'm not saying he would beat him. I just think that his approach would be the one that I would be like, maybe, because otherwise no one's got a shot.
I always go to Maidana. I don't know why, but in my head I go to Maidana. He fought Broner, and then he got a shot against Mayweather. And for me, it drew a blueprint of what you do when the guy has better boxing skill than you. When the guy would outpoint you every round for 4 hours if they left you out there and you just boxed with him the whole time. Here's what you do. You throw 182 punches every 45 seconds. Then you take a 5-second rest and do it again. And you stay on top of the guy. You cut off the ring. You try to maul him. And everything within the legal limits, aside from, the headbutts and low blows, and the way Joe got his 6 losses on his build a career guy. Outside of that stuff, you go in and you get it done. And I think if somebody's going to beat Adesanya, that's how they're going to do it. And I also would agree that Teixeira has a better chance of taking that approach.
By the way, my brother was upset I told that story until I started telling it, and then he loved it. He was happy to hear it. Yeah, we had a good laugh about that. Again, I think Teixeira could really give Adesanya a fight. I think anybody who watches Israel Adesanya and who loves this guy has to always be thinking in these fights, how come nobody, again, we talk about Holly Holm and why anybody would try to go toe-to-toe with the best female boxer of all time. Why am I fighting a guy with 75 kickboxing fights in his? That's not the guy I'm standing with. And for some reason, all of these goofballs go at it. That's their game plan. It doesn't work. And as for Santos, his fight against Blachowicz was a really great fight. And he seemed to really frustrate Jan because again, Jan just likes to bring it, and Santos wasn't having any of that. And eventually, Jan got a little sloppy, came in, and Santos dropped him. These things happen.
Striker is always possible. Yeah,
strikers strike, and it's always there.
Strikers
if you want to
striking,
strikers be striking. if you want a real fight, you're going to need a guy who's not afraid to get down on the ground. And no one's beating Israel Adesanya standing there, not for another 10 years at least.
No, and if Teixeira does get the belt, he deserves that super fight with Adesanya. This guy, he had to sit out years of his career trying to get to the UFC due to visa issues. In his prime, he wasn't fighting in the UFC, even though the UFC really, really wanted him to. But now he's older. He's had some bumps along the way, but now he's building up his resume. He's got his resume. He's on the streak. He deserves this. If anyone deserves it, he deserves it. And I'm excited to see, and I'm glad Dana, the Adesanya going for another belt, that's going to make you a bunch of money. That's a money fight. no matter who's it against. But the fact that Dana White is looking back and saying, all right, I'm going to give this guy the shot. He knows he deserves it. And that's a big move in that for Dana White and promoters when boxing and the UFC nowadays is all about money and not really about the best taking on the best, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's an undefeated world champion.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this fight to be made. It's great to see Teixeira. And I mean, we all picked Santos, really. But, like, coming off that knee injury.
I wasn't good.
I didn't pick Santos. Just so we're all clear. I said I thought Teixeira was going to do exactly what he did. Again, this is what I said. I like Santos. I would take Santos against most anybody. I wouldn't take him against Teixeira because I knew Teixeira could do this.
Hey, I'm the fight guy, and if we start keeping track of predictions, we should start now because Joe, you have been hands down smoking me.
It's been good lately. I've been on a run.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but now that we're talking about it, I feel like I have to say it.
I'm keeping track at home. Don't worry about it.
Scoring at home. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of scoring, boy, Devin Haney outscored dominantly, decisive decision over Yuriorkis Gamboa. Jared, what are your thoughts?
Man, it sucks that this was a boring and predictable fight. It really sucks that it was that predictable and that boring. Because Gamboa's a good fighter, and this is a fight that made sense for Haney. You know, we all saw this coming, but it's the type of fight where it's a trap fight, where Gamboa's going to give a lot of guys fits and just didn't. We didn't think he would. He didn't. Haney Garcia is the fight I want to see, man. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney's the fight I want to see. This kid can fight. And yeah, it was, like I said, outstandingly predictable. Like beyond that this is what we said. Yeah.
Snooze
Take
fest.
a nap. Yeah, wait. Show me the highlights and wake me up when it's over.
Now, last week I did say he's more more money Mayweather than he is pretty boy. Okay, that's what you're getting out of this stable. He totally proved my point when I said that. And I think a bigger issue for him is he's been having a tough time making lightweight. Probably going to have to move up to the welterweight division. And I think you've noticed that the lack of punching power, well, let's just say Bud Crawford and Josh Taylor, it's going to be an issue, I think, for Mr. Haney going forward. Good fight here. Certainly handled Gamboa was a great fighter. But, look, we'll be previewing a couple more fights before the show is over. And there are elite guys in this sport. Then there are the guys just under them. And then there's everybody else. And those guys, and Haney's going to be in that spot for me right now. That spot just underneath. Kind of like a Kell Brook. You could play with the big boy. You're not going to beat him. You could fight him and give him a match, and you'll beat everybody else. You're not going to beat the elite guys because you're just not elite enough.
No, and this dude's been running from Lomachenko.
The Mayweather hype machine. You protect all these guys. They're 18-0 with 17 knockouts. Get them a title fight, and then we're gonna dodge people to your 30.
Yeah, I don't remember how many times on this show since we started about a year ago we've spoke about Haney needs to fight Lomachenko. Lomachenko needs to fight Haney, and now. Look what happened with Lopez stepping in. Now that fight is not as desirable. But now Haney needs to fight Lopez, and guess what? He probably won't do it. Because that's just the way boxing works, which sucks. But yeah, as far as this fight goes, it wasn't spectacular. This isn't a fight. Like if this were pay-per-view, no one's buying this fight. It sucks. But it is. I need to see him against a tough test. and whether that's moving up, going for another belt, whether that's going against Lopez, whether that's going against Lomachenko, you really got to prove yourself.
Lopez would destroy Haney. No doubt in my mind, having watched these last few. No, Haney has a 5% chance of winning in my book.
You have to prove yourself and just beating whoever the promoter throws in front of you. That's not proving yourself. But that's going to be it for recapping fights. Let's move on to some current events. Big news. The UFC 256 headlining bout between women's bantamweight and featherweight champ Amanda Nunes and Megan Anderson is called off due to Nunes having an undisclosed injury. So instead, the UFC 256 will be headlined by Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. What do you think of this news, Jared?
I like the fight they replaced it with, but man, I wanted to see. I just want to see somebody challenge Nunes. I want to see somebody challenge her. She's so beastly.
Yeah, dude, this is such a bummer, man. And Megan Anderson, by the way, showed a lot of love and respect to the champ on Twitter, telling her she hopes she gets better quick. This was going to be a good match. Anderson's a former champion. She did lose to Holly Holm by decision in one of her first fights in UFC. She's won her last two, a first round submission and a first round knockout at UFC Fight Night 169. It got her the Performance of the Night bonus. This fight is definitely going to be rescheduled from what they're saying, and Nunes is definitely going to win whenever that happens. But it'll be a great fight. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. You gotta pick Nunes.
Yeah. If Holly Holm can out wrestle you and demolish you on the ground, a black belt in jiu-jitsu will have, and that's if it goes to the ground and you don't get knocked out by the women's Mike Tyson that is Amanda Nunes.
This is probably the best thing that's happened to Megan Anderson this year.
This year, that's it?
In 2020. This is tops. Like, you had the bout. That was great. You're not going to get beat up in 2020. You'll get to do it next year. Not bad.
You signed it. It looked like you wanted to. It's like that guy you knew could beat you up.
Yeah.
But you went in there and you got a couple off, and then you got separated just in time. And
this is good for her too, because the longer this delay goes, the longer, and especially if they're just gonna reschedule it, Megan Anderson's name stays out there as when Nunes comes back
until this fight happens.
Yes, and her relevancy would have ended much sooner if not for whatever this injury is. This is great news.
Yeah.
All right. I have a question, though. If you say you are in the corner of Megan Anderson, what is her best way to win this fight? Jared?
Oh, I was gonna let you handle that one, Joe. I thought it was.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was talking to you.
Either way.
I was gonna say this is a great idea. Just not have Nunes show up. Or I think
is one way not to lose.
Sure, we've seen another really great style where you just hug the other guy's arms for the whole fight. If he can't move, he can't punch me.
Well, then that's it. Yeah, I would say the same thing. Clinch game, all the way in or all the way out. Like I say, when somebody's a little outgunned, you want to stay far enough away where she can't touch you and be circling and stuff. And if you get into close quarters, be on top of her so she can't do any damage. If there's a blueprint, I think, as boring as it is, that's probably it.
Also, if she hits you hard and it hurts, don't react by saying, you know what, I'm just going to throw hands for 30 seconds and see what happens, because you're already done.
Don't try to get the punch back. Yeah.
Yeah. It hurt. Take a few steps back. Run around or dance around the ring a little bit. You know what I mean? But yeah, don't stand in the pocket and think you're going to start exchanging. Like maybe I'll land a haymaker. You're not.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys saw the documentary American Murder. I mean, it's one of like a million examples I could give. But this is where like I could draw a blueprint for Anderson to win. But, you know, I feel like that criminal defense attorney that knows the guy's guilty and everybody knows the guy's guilty and you're drawing up a defense for it. It's as an activity, it doesn't seem to have a lot of value.
Something just occurred to me, actually. Maybe if you're Megan Anderson, maybe you could see if Mark Breland will drug Amanda Nunes' water bottle. Certainly could help.
Hear Tanya Harding's available.
Yeah. Yeah.
Undisclosed injury.
Yeah. Don't drink the water, Amanda. Don't do it.
Honestly,
Fury to put a gypsy spell on him. There are ways, Jace. That's all we're saying is if you have a brainstorm long enough.
No, but I think you guys are missing a pretty big way. In Megan Anderson's 6 foot. If she uses that range, you know Nunes is a power puncher. She's going to be looking to get inside and land that. If you can use that range, which, I mean, on paper it's all good. But say you use your range, you throw a kick, you're getting taken down, most likely. So on paper, you use the range. Maybe you can outpoint her. Maybe you can win the technical game. But that would be my best bet if I were in the corner of Megan.
But sure. I mean, look.
Where I don't want to be.
Yeah, everybody's got a game plan. This is another one, right? She does the Muay Thai. She does the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then, as you just mentioned, got out-wrestled by Holly Holm. Does that inspire me to think she's going to bring her A game against Amanda Nunes whenever the opportunity arises? No, not at all. But again, look, you've got the skill set, so utilize it. If you utilize your abilities, if Amanda's rocking your boat and you take her down and you start doing you make some things happen. But again, everybody's tendency is, you know what, Jared, actually, I want to ask you this question because I asked my brother this. We were researching. We had a nice research meeting with Jace yesterday. And the question came up. This idea, we talked about this with Ronda Rousey decided, right, she was going to try to outbox Holly Holm. As a fighter, Jared, is it more important to you to win by any means necessary, or is it a bigger thing if I knock out a knockout guy, even though I'm not?
Most of us start the game as the latter and transition our way to the former.
But is it, so let me ask you this. Is it I have to lose a fight or two before I can appreciate and see things differently?
And build other ways to win. And isn't that why boxing's such a great life lesson? Here I go back to the psychology, is that we take that loss and then we have to adjust to that loss. We have to do something different. We know we're not the biggest, the baddest, the best. Nobody's ever going to punch us. We're going to knock everybody out. You know, unless we're ready to go Deontay Wilder, we've got to face the facts that there's going to be somebody better some days. You know, and I think it really depends on the individual. Some people, a hard head makes for a soft ass, Papa used to tell me. You know, so maybe it takes a fight or two, maybe a lot more than that. I was never much of a trader, but I don't have that much of that type of personality. You know, people kind of fight based on their personality. You know, you could tell a lot about somebody boxing with them or, you know, playing chess. When you get to a certain space where you've done it enough times, you see, you know, you notice the difference between passive and aggressive when you're in the ring with somebody. So I was always very boring. I'm trying to hit without getting hit and institute the art of boxing. And if you don't appreciate, you know, if you think Floyd Mayweather ran from Manny Pacquiao, you don't understand the sport of boxing. You don't appreciate the art and what we're trying to do in there. So especially at Scrub Scraps, people would see these exciting fights where people couldn't weren't that keen on defending themselves. And then I would have this boring fight that they thought was going to be really exciting. Well, no, I'm going to do enough to win. I don't, excitement, and it's all free. I didn't even have to worry about ticket sales.
Yeah.
We never gave or took a penny for it, So it was something I never, the level of excitement and the fandom and the shares. I'll get the win, and all of that stuff we can worry about another time.
All right.
George Foreman ducked one person in his career. Do you know who that person was? Jerry Quarry. This has come out of George's own mouth. The style to him didn't look right. He knew he would be exposed in a fight with Jerry Quarry, and he dodged him his entire life. I can't beat that guy. Not that that guy's better than me. That guy's style and my style, that's not a good fight for me. The chances of me losing that fight are better than I'd like to take in a fight.
Yeah.
So you got to be smart. I think when you're in these fights, again, to me, and I don't want to jump the gun here, but if I'm the best pound for pound champion in the world, I want to knock you out quick as I can. If I'm an up and comer, if I'm a young guy or somebody has to prove something, I want to. That's hilarious. I did, didn't I, Julianne? I got him for once. But the secret, Sister Julianne Jones, is my brother was the one that actually gave me that pocket info. So it's actually the Joneses versus the Aguirres total. And if Jared needs some help,
you gotta throw something in here, sis. Now
could always phone a friend. You just
comes out with a Jerry Quarry.
Little Jerry Quarry reference on the show today, everybody. Again, you got to be smart, and you have to understand that again, if you're trying to knock out the greatest fighter in your generation, and you're bringing it like, again, I don't want to jump the gun. I'll wait till we preview the fights to get to it, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. I just see an opportunity for Kell Brook that I think he's going to waste.
All right.
And I'll tell you why when we get there. It'll build into the greater psychology, and literally what I was just asked Jared about is I'm really curious because that's been on my mind all week.
Yeah.
Like, can you just beat me, or do you have to try to beat me at my own game to really I got him. I showed him what's up.
Well, and that's something that's inherent in everyone, I think. That desire to Art of War, crush your opponent completely. Even the phoenix rose from its own ashes. Come back and kick the ashes. I think that savage part that I like to talk about is that's inside of all of us. And when I say I don't really have that personality type and I'll get the win today and look good tomorrow, and affirming dominance is not really something I feel like that's the spot for. But there's so many people that do. I had a guy, definitely not mentioning any names, lied about his weight 20 plus pounds. And it was the scrub scrap. We got a scale. So we hadn't had a scale before that. The kid he fought was 38 pounds lighter than him, what I thought he was. And he had an amateur boxing career. Now, what he didn't know was I'd done some homework on him, and the guy he was fighting had 2 MMA fights and was a pretty badass kid in his own right. Anyways, they have a great fight, but he's trying to tear this kid's head off. Like everything that we've said to each other, me to him has been ignored. We're not trying to kill each other, and he comes in 225, said 185. It's the whole thing was scrub scrap's worst nightmare. Somebody comes in, says they get the point, has experience, is trying to kill someone in the ring, and not something I'd have had either guy back for. That's so important to some people. I think my experience in life, and like you say, sometimes it takes an ass whooping or two. I think that when you have that experience in life, if you've been in the ring with professional fighters, if you've, been in 8 or 9 of the state's prisons and you've seen all the baddest dudes, fake and real baddest dudes, out there, you kind of find a spot to fit in. And
Yeah.
I'm not, whether I'm dominant, I'm not trying to climb that chain and find out exactly where I fit anymore. There was a time, and then I fought Chad Dawson. I had to think things over. Honestly, it was, you're at the top of your game. How much better are you going to get? 25 years old, training 6-7 hours a day. How much better are you going to get than you are right now? And Chad is still at about a 5.
Yeah.
And kicking my ass. So how far do I want to? I realized that my level was, as I say sometime, depending on the fanfare you can create. If you can't create fanfare, you'll have to fight better fighters. It's the only sport that's like that. Boxing is literally the only sport that's like that. That if you can gain celebrity, you don't necessarily have to fight guys that are badass. That your record at the end of the day. And I didn't see myself creating a lot of fanfare or beating a lot of upper echelon guys. So I'm, a 27-8 guy who has trouble thinking late in my life. I decided not to go that route. Made sense to me at the time. But it took getting to my peak and really trying. And most of those guys that you're talking about in the real world, it's because they've never tested themselves. It's because they don't know the feeling of defeat or even a fight. Some of the baddest dudes I know, I'm not sure they've ever been in a fight. So it's relative to the individual and their experience for sure.
All right. Yeah, I like that. But let's move on to who you got this week, the UFC draft. So let's start things off. We're going to go round by round, serpentine style. But first we need to figure out the order. Jared, myself, then Joe, and then we'll come back around the other way. UFC draft.
Scheffner.
Love it.
All right, you're the GM. You're Dana White. Round 1 is heavyweights. Who are you picking, Jared?
Oh, I get the first pick.
Yeah.
Ooh, give me. Oh, God, I hate to even say that. You know what? Fedor. I didn't want heavyweight. I'll be honest. I didn't want heavyweight. I didn't want the one.
See, this is a problem here, Jared. This is the UFC draft. When has Fedor fought in the UFC?
Oh.
Now, hold on a minute. Jared, real quick. Yesterday, I told you we had a little production meeting here yesterday, and I did ask Jace. I said, dude, man, you always get me with these things because there's no criteria on it. This is literally anyone who fought in that weight class in the UFC is eligible to be the selection.
That's a hint.
Anybody. But
That's a hint.
But what he doesn't say too is it's not necessarily you can't
gotta
say
defend
Chuck
your
Liddell.
guy.
It's not Chuck Liddell in his prime. Like you got to make your pick on
All right,
your
give me
guy.
Stipe. I want Stipe.
You want Stipe?
Give me Stipe.
All right. That made my job a lot easier because I was going to have to put my heart over my brain with my pick, but I'm going to do it. My favorite fighter of all time, Cain Velasquez. Give me him.
Am I allowed to have I had Stipe as well.
Now you got to –
I
he's
gotta
off
go.
the board.
Ah, jeez, man. I wasn't expecting this snake draft. Come on. Maybe I'll go. I think I got notes. I'll go Daniel Cormier.
I like that.
I'll take Cormier.
That was my 3. But now coming back around round 2, you're number 1, Joe. Who's your light heavyweight?
Oh, come on. Bones, baby. John Bones Jones. No doubt about it.
All right, and if you're picking John Jones, I'm going to pick the one person that was so dominant, but he just couldn't beat John Jones. Daniel Cormier is my light heavyweight pick.
All right.
Took my light heavy. Oh, give me Chuck Liddell.
Those are the three names I
Love
had.
it.
Yet again.
Love
Give me
it.
Chuck.
All right, Jared. Middleweights to you.
Is this Silva? This has to be Silva. Yeah, give me Silva.
Okay. All right. Now, this is going to be a weird pick for me. Never champion, but such a freaking beast. I got to go with him. Yoel Romero. Just a monster. I'm picking Yoel here.
I can't believe I get to take Israel Adesanya with the third selection in the middleweight. What? Okay. Thank you.
All right. Now, welterweights to you, Joe.
Georgia St. Pierre.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good draft for me so far. I'm feeling it. I like this.
Joe, yeah. I'm gonna go Matt Hughes. Dominant Matt Hughes.
Love it. Yeah, there's not an Adesanya out there and for you.
The greatest. Well, and Matt Hughes just got picked.
Hughes is off the board.
Oh man.
Like welterweight's tough. Like it's really GSP Hughes and then that third one.
BJ Penn.
Okay. All right. And
I don't
back around-
expect him to go very far when the tournament starts. But that's probably the next best welterweight if I'm
All
being
right.
honest.
You're gonna double up with like BJ Penn at lightweight, Jared?
Yeah, right. I'll take Khabib.
Oh, man.
I think I was gonna say, like,
Joe, Khabib was not gonna be
like,
third.
no,
I thought he might. I
come
thought. I
on.
just. Some things have
Oh,
worked
maybe
out.
What?
Things have worked out, is all I'm saying.
He's winning the tournament too. That's the guy I like to win the tournament.
All right. So far, I'm not going with the most dominant. I'm not going with like the most championships. I'm going with the scariest people. And El Cucuy, the boogeyman in Spanish. I'm going Tony Ferguson with my lightweight pick.
I'm actually going to put BJ Penn here. He was actually 11-3 when he was a lightweight. He was actually the best part of his whole entire career. He probably should have stayed there. But yeah, BJ Penn, I'll take.
All right. Back to you, Joe, for featherweights.
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is. Damn. I thought there was going to be an obvious number one. I'm not even going to go with my obvious number. I'm going to go Max Holloway, dude.
Ooh,
Only person
Jose Aldo.
not to beat him. Max
Nice.
Holloway
I
destroyed Jose Aldo
Stole Aldo
twice.
I think
later.
my guy beat both of your guys, though. So what?
That's fair.
That is fair. Damn. Okay. Jared, back to you. Women's featherweights.
Oh,
Should be pretty
women's
easy.
feather. This has got to be Holly, right?
You're picking Holly?
Oh man, Nunes. Yeah, it's Nunes.
Okay. I am going to pick.
Love Holly there though. Come on, man.
The
Honorable mention, Holly
person-
Holm.
Okay. I'm going to pick the person this weight class was made for in the UFC, Chris Cyborg.
God.
This is fun.
Oh, man. I took notes, got notes here, and there's multiple names that were under consideration. Things were factored in, things were factored out, and then for women's, literally, it just says Chris Cyborg. So I will throw. I guess I'll take Holly Holmes here.
All right, didn't win the belt, but that fight with the Random was ridiculous that she didn't win that. That's ridiculous. Okay, but that's a whole different discussion. Back to you, Joe, for bantamweights to kick off round 8.
Gotta go with Dominic Cruz.
That's a good one. That was my number 1. I'm gonna go. Rep a little bit of my Mexican pride. I'm gonna take Henry Cejudo. Triple C.
Current Peter Yan.
Damn. TJ Dillashaw did not get picked in bantamweights. That's crazy.
No,
I had him on my list. If I would have picked second, I probably would have taken him there. Honestly.
And by the way you built it with a snake draft, am I first again here?
Yeah. Women's bantams.
I'm winning all the women's brackets. Amanda wins.
You're winning all the women's brackets with one person.
That's interesting. That is interesting. Because I did have Amanda there.
Oh, word.
I also wrote you can have Amanda in really any of these, and you can't be wrong.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna go the pioneer, Ronda Rousey.
I just found out my notes. I was like, my number 2 bantamweights. Boy, oh boy.
This is great.
I don't think I
You double up on Amanda. You want to double up on Holly?
Holly Holmes it is.
All right, and then flyweights to you, Joe.
Demetrius Johnson.
Oh, that was the easy one.
All right,
11 title defenses. Yeah, that's my guy.
All right, Jared doubled up on Amanda. Joe doubled up on Holly. I'm gonna double up on the Triple C, Henry Cejudo.
Oh,
this is a tough one here, Jared.
Yikes. It's gotta be Benavidez, doesn't it?
Yeah, or you could go like you did with Bantams.
Cruz on his way up. Hey, Figueiredo, we don't know how good he is. I'll take current. Again, I have 3 current champions.
All right.
5. At least 5. Damn. I got all the current. Let's go, squad. We're ready now.
Are you going to make that 6 with women's flyweight?
Ooh. Like Joe said, that can be Nunes at every class.
She's never fought flyweight.
She never fought flyweight. Yeah. I think it. Jeez, man. I wish I picked third. I'd say Thug Rose. Yeah, give me Shevchenko.
Okay.
I'll take.
I'm gonna go. There's only ever.
Jacek though.
Yeah, that's what I'm taking at number 2. Joanna champion, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Now, Joe, this has to be the hardest spot in the newest division, and you got to pick third.
Yeah, great. I'll take Jessica Andrade. Oh, yeah, a little Andrade right up in there. That's all right. I'm okay.
I'd take a Rose there. No.
I do love me some Rose, but she has been getting a little beat up lately.
Well,
True.
are you going to take Rose in the 12th and final round with women's strawweight to you, Joe?
Actually, no. I am taking Johanna Jeffreshef. How you say it?
And Jacek.
Jeffreshef. Yeah. Lock. Yeah, I'm like obviously a huge fan of hers.
I
as you
believe
can see.
it's like Asian currency. Try to follow me here, Joe. Asian currency. The first letter of my name. Right? And Czech, like Czech Republic. Yen Jacek.
Young Jacek.
Yen Jacek.
Young Jacek.
That's how I pronounce it, anyways. Yen
Johanna Jacek. I love it.
Johanna.
Johanna.
Champion.
Yeah,
True champion.
that's the easy first pick. Then I'm going to go.
Yeah, it's the first one that came up on Google.
The one person that she could never beat. Thug Rose! Thug Rose! Let's go.
I'll take current again. Zang Willie. I'll take current. I have all the current UFC champions. Ready. We're ready. Did I really take all of the it's weird how that worked out. Because there were a lot of times I wouldn't have.
This just dropped really, really nicely in your lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you notice how at first it was all dudes? It's like he had it set up. It was all dudes, and then it started, as soon as I got to go, it started alternating. Yeah.
Snake. That's the snake.
No, I saw the snake. I saw the snake.
So I will put out after this show, we'll put out a graphic and we'll reach out to all the fans to see who won the draft. And it's probably going to be me. I'll let you know that right now. It's going to be me.
See that happening.
Okay.
People know who the real champ is.
I mean, I have 6 C's in my champion. Triple C twice. Just do math.
I want to say half the names that are on my list I didn't get to pick. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true too.
Well, yeah, I went a lot of 2s and 3s, and in at least one case, I had to actually go right off the. Wasn't even in the notes.
Didn't have enough.
Didn't have enough. Yep, had 2 names. You guys said them both.
Bullpen. Need a bullpen.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's move on to the preview this week's fights. Starting off with the UFC lightweights, the 12th ranked welterweight Rafael dos Anjos takes on the 7th ranked lightweight competitor Paul Felder after he steps in on 5 days' notice after Islam Makhachev had to pull out due to a staph infection. Jared, what are your thoughts going into this fight?
It sounds like a verb for when somebody gets brain damage. Felder. Thank you. You're welcome. So this what Felder's doing is really hard to do. I wish him all the luck in the world. I'll be rooting for him. 5 days notice. Yikes. Yeah, I hope Felder can pull this off for sure. I hope nobody Felder in his camp.
Oh my goodness gracious, that is great. I like Dos Anjos, very aggressive, high volume striking southpaw. He likes to take people down. He's a high level black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, comes out in the Muay Thai stance. Left kick to the body, the right hook to the head. That's the bread and butter. He's got a really great ground and pound. But he's lost 3 of his last 4. He beat Robbie Lawler in December 2017. Then he lost a couple fights to Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman. Then he submitted Kevin Lee and then dropped decisions to Leon Edwards and Michael Chiesa in January of this year. But he's got a great resume. He's beaten Donald Cerrone twice, Nate Diaz, Benson Henderson, and Anthony Pettis. And the people he's lost to, even more impressive. Clay Guida, Khabib, Eddie Alvarez, Tony Ferguson, and Jeremy Stevens. Dos Anjos has fought everybody and has a really mixed record against those guys. But that's what I love about this sport. But you hit the nail on the head, Jared. What the Irish Dragon is doing is amazing to come in on short notice, 5 days notice. He fought Dan Hooker, who I love. You guys like Dan Hooker?
Oh, yeah.
I get such a kick out of him. A split decision loss for Felder, and after the fight, basically was like, "Yeah, I think I'm done." And then he was like, "Well, I'm not really done. I think I'm just gonna pick things that entice me." And on 5 days' notice, apparently Dos Anjos has enticed him enough. I am so looking forward to this fight. Here's the thing about Felder, dude: 10 knockouts. I mean, Felder can knock you out. But I think if he can get on top of Dos Anjos and drop the elbows, I think he could see some magic. I wouldn't be surprised if Felder, I don't say wins the fight. I think it'll be close. I really do. I would be shocked if Felder gets knocked out here. He's a tough guy, but we'll see. We got to see which Dos Anjos shows up for this fight, because some Dos Anjoses will show up and he'll dominate and destroy, and then in others it's a little more lackluster.
Loses focus, yeah.
And I have to wonder if listen, you've been training for Islam and now you're fighting Felder. I just wonder what kind of, is that going to affect his effort? And if it does, it certainly sets him up, for a possible upset, not to mention, and even though he's not necessarily super active, Felder obviously is ranked much higher than Dos Anjos.
Yeah, you're right. I expect Felder to bring all he has and give Dos Anjos a fight. But the thing with Dos Anjos is he's coming back down to lightweight. He was the champion at lightweight. He had knockout power at lightweight. So I am really interested to see how this goes for him. I know when Cowboy, he had a stint at welterweight and then he wanted to come back down to lightweight. He said because he felt like he had to take it more seriously because he had to make the weight and he just felt like he had to take it more seriously. He couldn't mess around because of the weight cut. Maybe that's something Dos Anjos needs because he hasn't been finding a lot of success at welterweight. Maybe he does need to take it more seriously, and then he can come in. Who knows? He might still have that power that he couldn't. He didn't have it at welterweight, but he definitely had it at lightweight. So I'm very intrigued by this fight. I think it will be a really, really good fight. But I'm kind of afraid to pick it because I don't know. Dos Anjos, I've seen welterweight Dos Anjos, I've seen lightweight Dos Anjos. But lightweight Dos Anjos was so far in the past, we don't know how that's going to translate.
I'm taking Felder because I trust him. I'm taking Felder because I trust that if he took this fight on 5 days' notice, he is ready to bang. And he's going to show up. And I can't say the same without beyond a shadow of a doubt for Dos Anjos because I've seen him not show up before.
I'm going to throw something out there that could slightly alter your thoughts. Felder was 20 pounds overweight 3 days ago. And so obviously he has to make a massive weight cut here to get down where he needs to be. So that's all. I would just be a little concerned about that.
Oh, I'm okay with
that. But again, I'm with you. I trust Felder more in this fight. I really do. I don't know that he's going to win it, but I feel like I know what kind of performance he's going to put on. He's consistent. And so This to me, this is Dos Anjos' fight to win or lose. Because Felder's going to give you the Felder effort, and it's all going to depend on what his opponent brings.
No, yeah, you're right. I expect this to go to a decision regardless, and I don't know who's going to win. But say Dos Anjos does, with him being back at lightweight, he finds his power again and knocks Paul Felder out early in the round. How much of a competitor is he at this lightweight division?
I think we've seen the best. I think his best days are behind him.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to. I would have to see like a highlight reel early knockout to be like, all right, well, let's get a little momentum going. Because like I said, you come into this fight and things really haven't been going great for you lately. So you're getting a replacement fighter 5 days out. Everybody's watching, dude. You better be focused and you better bring it, man.
Yeah. All right. Now let's go from the cage to the ring. As Joe, you spoke a little bit about earlier, WBO welterweight champ Terrence Crawford takes on Kell Brook. Jared, what do you think?
I like Crawford. I like Bud Crawford all day here. I hope he hasn't taken Brook lightly. Kell Brook beat Sean Porter. He was ahead of Triple G on some scored cards, and heading into the 8th round against Spence, who took over the fight late, he was ahead according to the judges there that night. So this is a guy that's definitely capable of winning rounds against the best fighters in the world. I think Bud Crawford is one of those, and I don't expect him to get a win here. But it might be competitive in spots where people didn't think it would be.
Bud Crawford is my number 1 pound for pound fighter in boxing right now. He's got the speed. He's got the ring IQ, great punching power, fantastic counter punching ability. He became the first guy since Jermaine Taylor in 2005 to hold the 4 world titles simultaneously. 36 wins, 27 knockouts, including each of his last 5 fights, by the way.
Great numbers, Joe, but you're admitting you may have to change that name twice in the course of a calendar month. Just saying. Just throwing that out there.
You're hilarious. Meanwhile, Kell Brook, no pushover by any means. 27 wins, 27 knockouts in his 39 fights, by the way. Only 2 losses. You mentioned Triple G, Errol Spence. Had his eye socket broken in both of those fights. However,
and won rounds in both fights.
Yeah, certainly. Look, I went back and watched both fights this week. So I really wanted to understand. Because he's such a great fighter. But again, when I talk about those guys that could beat Sean Porter or Mark DeLuca, really good fighters, could whoop anybody else in that division. You get to the Bud Crawfords, though, and I think that's where like a guy like Special K runs into trouble. And it occurred to me in this fight that Kell was against both Spence and Triple G, working the body like he does, but just getting clobbered in the face over and over and over again. And that's why his eye socket got broken in both of those fights, because the two of the best guys in his division just this is the fight I saw. Like I talked to my brother about this at great length. He really likes Kell Brook. He's obviously a big Bud Crawford guy. But I said to him, I was like, dude, I'm watching this fight, and all I'm thinking is he does such a great job going to the body, but get your hands up. Stop getting hit in the face all the time. You know, again, we talked last week when I was talking about Tank Davis. You're not throwing that big sweeping that's not going to land on a championship boxer. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
So this is my point. I mean, if you're Kell Brook and you're winning some rounds and you're working the body, stop getting hit in the face. See, everybody notices when you're getting hit in the face. Dude, you could work my body all day. If the round ends and you've got a black eye, I won the round. That's how people see it.
This goes back to what you said earlier, though. Getting hit in the face is you're not getting hit in the face is more important to some people than it is to others.
Yeah.
You know, my boy Buju, Justin Hayes, that's how he used to fight. He put his hands in his pockets, lean back, and kind of stick his chin out. And when you start punching him, you know, he could do most of what he did with his eyes closed, because there's a button right here that make his hand. And if you're hitting me, that means you're close enough to get hit. There's a style. It's not a good one.
Also, listen, if you're getting your face punched into the point where your bones are literally cracking back into your brain, I don't know, switch up your stance. Can you now hit the left side of my face for a while? I would much prefer this over what is currently happening to me. Yeah. But as far as the way this fight goes, think of the Amir Khan Bud Crawford fight. I think this one's going to go a lot like that one, which is interesting because Khan and Brooke have been dancing for like 5 years, talking about getting together. And so now he'll get a chance to see what his rival Khan face. But that's kind of how I see this one going. Bud wins this one, going away. No problem.
No, Bud Crawford wins this. The only real way I see Brooke possibly winning is like an early round knockout. Crawford,
Better
he is
question.
very
Better question than who's going to win. Will Kell Brook win a round? What's the over under on his? What's the over under on rounds for Kell Brook?
I think Kell Brook can win a round. Bud Crawford's very calculated. He likes to feel out his opponent in the early rounds. So I think Kell Brook's best chance, if he wants to get a knockout, is in the early rounds. If he wants to win rounds, it's in the early rounds. While Crawford's still trying to figure him out, still trying to figure out what he wants to do. Because
so
once you get past,
how many rounds are you giving Brooke?
I like 3. I like that, Joe.
No more than 3.
No more than 3.
No more than 3. And again, it's and I think it'll be as much to do with Bud's strategy in the fight than it does to do with Brooks' abilities.
Yeah, I would rather say less than 3 than more than 3. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
This guy's a chess player, baby. So
Yeah.
you know, Bud's gonna, again, it's just a smart guy, maybe the most well-rounded boxer in the game. Whoever you want to be your number one guy. I love Bud Crawford, like as a human, as a person, as a smart boxer, as a strong fight. I mean, this guy's just got it all. Love him.
You want to know who else has it all? Undisputed women's lightweight champion Katie Taylor. She's taking on Miriam Gutierrez. Jared, ever since we started this show, this has been your girl. What do you think of this fight?
That's still my girl. Yeah, that's still my girl. You come back to me with this one for the flurry.
Okay.
I've got plans for this fight.
Well, I'll take it from here then. Obviously, look, Jared, I didn't realize you were such a big Katie Taylor fan. I don't think we've actually talked about her before, but I am as well.
Pictures of her and Trin.
No. Oh, no way. Really?
Videos of I got Katie Taylor hitting the pads up here, and then Trin's in the background hitting pads with Hector. I never showed you the pictures and videos, and Katie Taylor.
Oh my God.
Oh, she's awesome. She's awesome person.
What Katie Taylor's done for women's boxing has been amazing. She's, I mean,
Historic.
at 34 years old, she really is the pride of Ireland. She was actually ranked the greatest Irish athlete of her generation. Now, to be fair, there's not a lot of great Irish athletes, generally speaking, but this is pretty cool. You might recall
the boys football league over there, though.
Yeah, boy. I was gonna say. I mean, if you know anything about Katie Taylor, I mean, her background is like amazing. She's anything she went. Now, you mentioned earlier. I told you, Bud Crawford, one of the 8 people ever to hold all 4 belts. Katie done it. Katie done it too. On a list with people like Bernard Hopkins and Bud Crawford. Yeah. Girl, you're doing it right. Absolutely, for sure. Now, to be fair, her opponent is a Spanish boxer from Spain who has held the WBA interim female lightweight title since 2019. She is ranked as the world's 5th best active female fighter by the ring. She has 13 wins, 5 knockouts. It seems a lot of decisions. She's actually a pretty decent boxer. Going to be a really fun fight. Going to be a really good matchup. It's nice to see 16-0, 13-0. This is the kind of fight Katie needs, and I believe will dispatch of her as she's done with the previous 16.
Yeah, I agree with that. Gutierrez, I think that's going to be a fairly tough test, but I have faith in Taylor to get it done. She will get it done, and really, Katie Taylor, Clarissa Shields. Those are the faces of women's boxing. And it's going to continue that way. It's going to continue
this
that
won't
way.
be close.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to end the show like we always do. My man, Jared, hit me with that flurry.
I told my wife, Erica, when we started dating that with some hard work and minimal punishment to her body, she could likely become a world champion. And for one real good ass kicking, she could make some decent money in the sport of boxing. She was 22 years old, very attractive with above average athletic ability. Here's a clip from her only fight at Scrub Scraps 42.
Proud of it. 1, 4, 3. Here you go. Here you go. Hands up. Move. Here you go.
Young, hot, mildly athletic, only in the sport of boxing is that enough to make someone wildly successful for all of the reasons that I complain about on a weekly basis. Like I said earlier, everybody's an undefeated world champion. Miriam Gutierrez, set to fight Katie Taylor. She's ranked number 5 in the world by Ring, like Joe said, number 11 in the world by BoxRec. But she made her professional debut in 2017, a month after she turned 34 years old. Through 13 fights, her opponent's combined record is 36, 42, and 10. Only 4 of her opponents have had winning records, and 2 of those were 3-1. This is evidence of what I said to Erica. Good for you, Miriam, but this is that fight I talked about. This is that ass whooping where you make some good money. Unfortunately, the people closest to her are probably allowing her to live out this fantasy land and enjoying the ride while it lasts, a la Wilder, Rousey, and Ruiz, etc. But I hope someone has been honest with you, Miriam, as your career has progressed, as I was with my wife about her hypothetical career, because otherwise you're in for a very rude awakening. I hope you have people in your corner to help pick up the pieces after tonight's fight, whether you knew what was coming or not, because you're going to need the hugs and the support. And if you're a gambler, put the house on Katie Taylor. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you know what? You're 1,000% right, Jared. Gutierrez has never faced anybody in the class of Katie Taylor. And while 13, we talked about the 13-0 looks awesome. 13-0, 16-0, you're like, oh, 2 evenly matched fighters. I think you'll see quickly that will not be the case.
Absolutely. Katie Taylor's on a totally different level. And this girl has some amateur career. She made the Spanish Olympic team. No medals. She was on the team couple times, 2012, 2016. She's not it's not like she started at 37. I painted a picture for the flurry that because I was making a point, but she actually started a little bit younger. She got into it in her teenage years and is, a fairly decorated boxer, but she's in a completely different class from Katie Taylor. You see 2 undefeated girls, 16-0, 13-0. One of them's holding 3 belts. One of them holds 2 belts. You don't know that those are the Bridger weight titles that she had. That was
yes.
Yeah, she beat the Milkman and the deli meat slicer lady on her debut, and now she's undefeated and needs
Jace,
to fight Katie Taylor. This is
what
crazy.
did you think? What did you think of Erica Jones's overhand right?
Oh, gnarly.
Right on, right? Yeah. You think she was tough in the ring? She's a pretty tough real estate client as well.
Oh yeah. She's badass inside and outside of the
she's great
circle for sure.
She's great.
Yes.
Sure.
Too bad you weren't able to cash in, dude. I'm telling you. I'd be your Mark Breland, man. I got the towel,
seriously.
baby.
This girl Gutierrez, it was her 4th fight before she fought somebody who would win a fight. They were 0-12 before that. I mean, so seriously, you take somebody that looks like my wife does, like I don't humble brag. You take someone that looks like she does and put her on posters and have her fighting subpar competition, and she's the face of the event anyways, and who cares? And then at 13-0, you put her in with Katie Taylor, but it's Alan Green and Jadon Codrington. Please, if you have 2 minutes today, trust me, because the fight is going to be the short part of what I'm asking you to do right now. Watch Alan Green, ESPN, what Alan Green said prior to the Jadon Codrington fight, because I can't perfectly quote it, but it's along the lines of he's been living in a false reality, and it's going to come crumbling down when he faces Alan Green in the ring. And that's exactly how he got his neck broken, not exaggerating or trying to embellish the story. His neck was broken by Alan Green. Alan Green, Jadon Codrington, the chin checkers. Real tough guy. Him and Curtis Stevens. Curtis Stevens obviously went much further without the broken neck than did Jadon Codrington. But it was his 11th fight. He was 10-0 with 10 knockouts. Alan Green had a similar record, and one of them had the pedigree. One of them was the Katie Taylor in the fight, and the other one had no idea what they were getting into and was fed all of this bullshit by the people around him to believe that they were the battered dude in the ring that night. If Gutierrez, if anybody close to her isn't going, well, it's been a good run, then they're delusional. And as Wilder has proven to us, it's very possible for that stardom to make you delusional over time.
You want to know what's crazy is WWE has yes. But WWE has moved on from their like Divas era where it was all about looks, and if you look good, you were going to get a belt eventually. But boxing hasn't. If you look good and you have a couple wins, you can fight for a belt. And really, it's only Clarissa Shields and Katie Taylor. WWE had the Women's Evolution a couple years ago where they brought in it was all about the women's ability in the ring, not the looks. But now boxing still is. There are obviously Clarissa Shields, Katie Taylor, and then everyone else is. There's some okay guys. There's some women who's just a step below, but then there's a lot that look good and have good records, but they are nowhere near.
The fight game's the only place you cannot Sage Northcutt in basketball or football or baseball or hockey or soccer or any other sport. You can't Gina Carano. You can't. It doesn't work. It only works in the fight game because you can cherry pick.
Yeah, but think about like the people who end up transcending a sport. Like people like Tom Brady and Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, Mike Tyson, Ronda Rousey,
Paige Van Zandt.
They're
how far are we gonna go?
Oh, they're pleasant enough people to look at.
It's a visual medium.
Look, it applies as much to the guys as it does to the women, and it does. And I'm sure with
Sage Northcutt, he's my favorite to throw into this conversation because he's, I'm not gay, but I'm not blind either. He's a good-looking dude, and I think a lot of the fanfare and extra, and even fights that he got and extra chances were based on what he looked like more than what he was actually producing in the fights.
I look at somebody like Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? I love Daniel Cormier. Doesn't look like a champion.
No.
That doesn't look like the champion of the world to me.
You'd cast for that role, Joe.
And then when I'm like, wait, we were talking. I think it was you and I, Jared, that he beat somebody in the light heavyweight division, and I was like, how did he get down to light heavyweight? I don't know. He really carries that body well, doesn't he? I love Cormier. I'm not making fun of him, but just he doesn't look like he doesn't look like the guy you would build the sport around.
No.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but unfortunately, there's a certain degree of marketing that goes into these sports. So if you're handsome and you're amazing, I know I did point at my own handsome face because I'm also a little bit arrogant, but when you have the combination, you know, I tell
that I haven't need a pickup line again, Joe. Handsome and amazing.
That's amazing. You know, there's just something to that, and it's unfortunate because, you know, I think maybe the best part of this quarantine is if you have nice eyes, baby, you have a chance.
Because everything else is covered.
Al from Home Improvement.
All right. Oh, that was great. That's going to be it for the show. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Make sure you follow us, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter. And as always, Throwing Jabs is a CMG podcast. Come join the CMG Podcast Network if you're interested in starting your own podcast. If not, and you just need content, go to clovercrestmedia.com. Check out one of the 30 different podcasts that they have there. And thank you guys for watching and listening. And we hope to see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event.